The 1979 Philippine 25 Sentimo coin is a small yet significant part of the country's numismatic heritage. This coin reflects a period of political, economic, and cultural transition during the presidency of Ferdinand Marcos, when the nation was under martial law. Here's a comprehensive historical breakdown of this coin's origin, design, and significance. Mostly struck by the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, BSP, or outsourced to mints like the Royal Mint UK or Franklin Mint USA during certain years. 1979. The Philippines was under the dictatorship of President Ferdinand Marcos, who had declared martial law in 1972. By this time, martial law had technically been lifted in 1978, but authoritarian rule continued. The coin was issued during an era of economic control, heavy censorship, and intense nationalism. The government promoted Filipino culture and national identity, which influenced the design of currency during this time. Juan Luna, a celebrated Filipino painter, sculptor, and political activist, Republica ng Pilipinas encircles the portrait, meaning Republic of the Philippines. Juan Luna is inscribed beneath the bust. Luna symbolizes Filipino pride, nationalism, and brilliance in the arts, echoing the government's push to promote Filipino heroes. The Flora and Fauna series, introduced in the late 1970s, the Flora and Fauna series of coins aimed to promote awareness of the country's biodiversity and national heritage, while earlier 25 Sentimo coins from the 1970s featured animals or plants. The 1979 version still retained the portrait of Juan Luna, continuing the trend of featuring national heroes before the full Flora and Fauna designs became dominant in the 1980s. The 25 Sentimo coin was widely used in daily transactions in 1979, especially for small items like bread, candies, jeepney fares, and local produce. Inflation was steadily rising, but the 25 Sentimo coin still had moderate purchasing power, unlike today where lower denominations are almost obsolete. Common circulation. This coin was minted in large quantities, making it common in circulated condition. Value today. In circulated condition, its value is usually Philippine peso 5 to Philippine peso 20 php to $5 United States dollars, especially if preserved in mint sets. Historical value. While not rare, its value lies in its role as a historical artifact from the Marcos era and its representation of Juan Luna's legacy. Juan Luna is most famous for his painting, Spoliarium, a symbol of Filipino resistance against oppression. 1979 coins are now around 46 years old, often collected for their historical connection rather than intrinsic metal value. This coin was later redesigned in the 1980s to feature actual flora and fauna, replacing Juan Luna with native animal images. The 1979 Philippine 25 Sentimo coin is more than just loose change. It's a small metallic symbol of a complex time in Philippine history, representing political control, cultural pride, and economic challenges. 1979. The Philippines was still under the authoritarian rule of President Ferdinand Marcos, who had lifted martial law in 1978, yet retained nearly absolute control over the government. Though martial law officially ended, its systems of surveillance, suppression of dissent, and central control continued into 1979. During this time, the Central Bank of the Philippines, Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, remained the central issuing authority for coins and currency. This coin, the 25 Sentimo, became part of a broader monetary policy to modernize coinage and make it more nationalistic and culturally meaningful. The coin features Juan Luna. Not by coincidence, Juan Luna was not just a painter, he was a political icon, a revolutionary figure of the propaganda movement during Spanish rule. Luna fought not with weapons but with his art and intellect. His most famous painting, the Spoliarium, painted in 1884, was a metaphor for the suffering of the Filipino people under colonial oppression, including Luna's image on the 25 Sentimo coin in 1979, was symbolic. Marcos' government often highlighted nationalist icons to promote an image of Filipino strength and pride, even while repressing opposition and controlling public discourse. 1979. The Philippine economy was facing rising inflation, foreign debt, and growing unemployment. The 25 Sentimo coin remained a medium-value coin still used for needed small denominations like the 25 Sentimo to support local trade and maintain trust in the peso. Even as prices climbed and the peso's real value dropped, the 25 Sentimo of 1979 was part of a transitional coinage phase. Earlier coins featured Spanish or American imagery. The post-independence coins of the 1970s aimed to establish a Filipino identity. Thus, this series included Filipino heroes, symbols, and Tagalog. The use of Republica ng Pilipinas instead of English marked a national language movement, pushing pride in local dialects. The 1979-5 Sentimo coin was minted in copper nickel, a durable alloy. This was a strategic choice. Central ng Pilipinas coin reform in the late 1970s. The BSP undertook efforts to reorganize coin denominations, retiring old designs and promoting a unified look across all denominations. The inclusion of national heroes like Juan Luna, Marcelo H. del Pilar, and Melchora Aquino aimed to educate the public, especially children, on Filipino history through everyday objects like coins. Under Marcos, coin design wasn't just aesthetic, it was political messaging. By celebrating Filipino greatness like Juan Luna, the regime hoped to divert attention from public dissatisfaction, human rights abuses, and economic difficulties. The coin, small as it was, carried subtle propaganda celebrating a revolutionary artist while the government maintained an iron grip on expression. The mid-1980s, the Flora and Fauna series fully replaced the hero-themed coins. Thank you for watching. Like, share, abd, subscribe.